All right, you guys, so I have preserved my arrow rest as I discussed. I actually like it because it just makes a nice little notch here, and with the paracord, it slips right in here and gives me a nice aim point while not wrecking the arrow or putting a lot of pressure on it. It's really sleek. It's all carbon fiber, and it works real sweet, so I like that. It's also, I can grip it here if I want and get it right out of the way and just run the shot off of my thumb, which I really do like. So there's that. And then on top of that, I've made this to my hands. My pinky wraps smaller than my big hand, so I've actually made it a very comfy grip for me either way, with or without this. In fact, it feels a little small like this, so that when I incorporate it, it actually fully fits my grip perfect. It's really nice. Now, I would like to build this up a little more, but I was not wrong earlier when I said I'd probably use both. The blue and the yellow are now gone, but there is a whole roll on here. But it's now starting to have really nice weight, and it's even increased its stiffness a little more with all these wraps on it. This is actually now making really nice poundage. And unlike, not that I'm saying I'm better than everybody or anything, but there's a lot of DIY bows I'm seeing out there. Um, some of them quite heavy. And the way they're getting their weight is to just use heavier materials. I like this one because it keeps the limbs really, really fast. But at the same time, it gives you a nice, lightweight, easy to carry, easy to just shoulder kind of a thing, and it actually has enough you could put it on like old school style and just kind of have it on you like it's big, and it doesn't have a big profile. I mean, it sits when I want it to right down at my side, and this is the way they would carry them in the old days, because if you want it, it's always right here and you have it really quick on you, and it's like you could just sling it up behind you and put it up behind you too and just kind of carry it. And some guys just like to carry it like that. I actually like that. If you guys have never seen anybody carry a bow like that, it doesn't touch the ground. It just wraps here, and then you can just swing it around and get a quick shot off if you need to. And the way that works is you just lock it up behind you, only you don't. You just lock it up behind you like that, and then have your arm in it. Kind of, it's twisted and awkward, it sounds, but it's not actually. It's actually really not comfortable when you just do it. And you tuck it up under here, and you tuck this end up under your armpit, kind of like when you step into a bow. Whoa, awkward style. To do it, only this one isn't so strong, guys. This isn't a 100-pound bow to just to draw. You don't have to do that. You could just put this one, put your foot out, press on it. It's easy. It's not hard, which is what I love about it. It doesn't start to get hard until you've gotten the most of the way through the draw. And it's only in the last couple of inches of the draw that it starts to get hard. But good paracord, you can put a lot of pressure on. And the way this is braced and how strong this is and the way this whole system is and the way the bracing is internally and the way that the structure is, it's really strong stuff. Every one of those is kind of guaranteed not to break. In fact, this stuff is literally guaranteed for life not to break, no matter how much pressure is applied to it, because you can fold that stuff over 90 degrees and it won't break, and it'll never get to 90 degrees in a bow. And that's the beautiful thing. It's designed so it can't. So no matter how much pressure you put on it, it'll never go to 90 degrees. And even if it did, it couldn't break. The only thing that would break would be this fiberglass rod, the biggest one. But kind of like the willow system for my sailboats, you don't want it to break. You want it to be able to handle. I built it so that the inner material, experimented with it pretty extensively, and I know for a fact that as hard as I can pull this bow is maybe 110 pounds. I did that to it, and it survived. In fact, it's giving me a really nice bow workout. My hands are like beef pumped up because I've been pulling on this thing all night. And it's so strong that at the back, it's easy 110, 120 pounds. I can put 130 pounds of pressure on this bow, and it just keeps going further back. But my guess is right at the absolute back of it, there gets to a point where there's really no more bend to get, and it's right at the limit. Um, But even then, you can pull it a little farther if you're strong enough, and it's pretty cool for that. You just keep pulling, and it just keeps giving you more power, dude. But at that point, for the amount of poundage increase, you're probably not going to get much in the difference of feet per second, but it will be some. Um, so in every stage of this build, it has gotten stronger. It is now technically stronger than it has been so far. All that extra paracord is nice and neatly locked in. It's got a nice handle. As you can see, it's not a lot of width. I wish I had a little more, but now that it's done, it's done because I don't think I want any more. This is actually really nice. It's light, it's active, it's got a really nice grip. This piece falls underneath my hand really smoothly, but when I want it, it's kind of I have to notice it and put it out, which is good. I like that because most of the time I don't want it and I shoot off this thumb. So I like to shoot there, but I also like to shoot off the rest sometimes. So windage helps too. I find if I'm getting wind from the right, I'll put it on the right side and that helps to keep it straight. And if I'm getting wind from the left, I'll put it on the left side so the arrow's coming off. Don't forget the arrow has to get past this width right here. And the string width, you can see I'm holding it in alignment, is much smaller. And the arrow back is going to be on that string width. So except that no matter which side you have it on, you are going to be off a little bit. That's why archery is so cool. You have to adjust for that. But because it's such a small amount, if you aim dead center and then pull off either edge, you actually get a really straight shot compared to most bows, because most would be thicker than this. The thinness of it counts for a lot. And on both sides, I've given myself an actual shelf here that's built up, but small, but right in the paracord. And if you look, it's perfectly in line with my other, so that the two of them, I have a shelf on either side, but I have a shallow shelf here, and I like that. I actually like to bring my thumb up along the side and really get into it and then just let her fly, and it works really great. It's traditional kind of technique. So this is working amazing, and I can't believe how good the poundage is for how light it is on the other side. Like usually a bow that could do 100 pounds of weight would be crazy to draw right away. Like you're feeling that right here, and then drawing it more is just getting into it. But you'd be feeling about 80 pounds here. Well, that's what this is like. When you really pull it to here, with this one, you're at about 50. And then as you go down and start pulling more and more into this action that this bow has, like really, I can hold it at my waist height and have it touch the floor. This is a serious weight bow, and I'm really riffing on it. And I can pull 100 pounds up that way off the floor, no problem. I put that kind of pressure on this, what I know is 100 pounds, and it takes it like it's nothing. And it's comfortable doing it. And I could pull it 100 times at a 100-pound draw, and it would be no problem. And that is why this series is going to this bow and not much further, guys. I wanted to do a good DIY survival bow that you guys could build cheap, easy, and would be kind of the RXD way. Because there's a couple of things in it that I noticed that other people aren't really doing right. A lot of people, when they stack their rods, they square stack them. That's not right. You don't want to do that. The structural method that I've done it is the best way that I know of. You want those 3 lighter ones on the outside because they're what's snapping it back. They're helping to snap everything back into place. And you want them forward so they can drag this bigger, thicker bar with them on the release. And this has a very fast release for a given poundage, which is actually surprising me. That's kind of what I liked about it right away, was even at lightweight, it was like that. And the early pull is still light, but nowhere near as light as it was before. I mean, this right here, this is actually under significant tension, and I feel that, and I have to put at least 12, 14 pounds of pressure right here before it starts to bow that string at all. And I could always increase that, guys, by adding wraps here to this paracord and tightening it at both ends, and you get a progressively stronger bow. And like I said, because this can go all the way back to 90 degrees, I mean, these could literally be at an elbow almost before any part of that would break. And because of that, and the fact that it's physically impossible for me to pull it into that angle, and if I did, it would take hundreds of pounds of pressure. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, the paracord's good for 200 pounds. if I make my mark, if this is the type of paracord I thought, it actually has a reflective stripe in it too. I don't know if I can show you guys that, but it actually does have a little reflective stripe. And while it's weird, I'm not seeing it much here in the light. There is that little stripe. So it's pretty bright stuff, and it's orange. So I thought, well, the orange, the yellow, the blue, they actually didn't look too bad together. And this is the first wrap. I actually want to do it again with all black and red, and it'll build the handle up to the level that I want, and the over top of everything, it'll be black and red. So that'll finish mine, and I'll make a red handle on a black bow, and I think that'll be just nice. I'll make my limbs right out to here and lock those positions in nice, all in red. And when I'm done, this will be the last kind of finishing touch for it really, but it doesn't even need that. And the more I cover this up, the worse, because if I ever have to repair any of it, I want to leave it exposed. So I will do it, but I'll only do it to here, I think, because it leaves the rest exposed and I can just work with it. Leave this here, cut the paracord if I have to, and do all my adjustments and stuff. Keep in mind too, again, the string is a totally separate piece from the lashing. So the string itself is on there and separately attached to. Everything is under tension and under a nice amount of tension, and I gotta tell you, I'm deeply impressed with this thing. So enough looking at it and talking about it, but I do want to give you a good look at it because it is really tight, guys. Everything is done properly under tension, and it shows. I mean, when you look at it, even the wrapping, it was done under tension this time. And there's a place where it's kind of loose, but it's because it's an extra line that's been thrown over afterward. You hear that? You see that? Whereas the one underneath it, I can't really move that line. It's tight, tight. I could if I really wanted to, but I just put a little pressure on it. These are tight, tight lines. And now once all that was tightened on, it increased the poundage a little, I noticed. And then doing the tape isn't so much increasing the poundage, but it's absolutely increasing the usability, the comfort level, its precision. The weight is so much better now overall of the bow, both in terms of the poundage of pull and the actual weight of it, and the comfort and the way it fits my hand is just about ideal. Now I want it to be a bit bigger though. And that's the trick. It worked out perfect because now I've got to add another layer. And once I do, it should be just about right. And that'll run me out of red pretty much to do the middle and the tips, the same as I've done yellow, but not the actual tips, as you can see. Like I said, you got to leave those. But the rest, this is all the tensioning that holds together my tension members. And so you want these to be as tightly done at the tips as you possibly can, where it locks in all the members. And I did a whole bunch of extra layers on both ends at that point because that was really, really important. Same with the paracord. You can see it's pretty tightly wrapped in there. There ain't no loosey-goosey here. This was as tight as I could possibly wrap it. In addition, it was tightly taped in the first place. So this has actually been longer video-wise than I thought to show you the finish work, to show you what's next, because I'm not even done yet. What I have to do now is get a couple more colors if I want to. The reason I show it to you at these stages is because, dude, it's done. It was done right away. It was so done right away. It was so good that I just went, oh my God. Instead of making a whole bunch of others, I've got one already that's good. I can even make it better. And let's see what I can do to tune this and see how good I can make it. I didn't expect it to get this good. In fact, I thought if I pulled 100 pounds of pressure on this sucker, it would just break the paracord. I absolutely thought that. I have done that at least 50 times and it didn't break. So that led me to realize that, and not only that, when I let go the string, it seems like the harder I pull, the faster that string is humming. And that's a really good sign. Just experimenting to see how hard I would have to pull it to get the string to about the maximum speed that I figured it would go. And then pull a little harder and it didn't go any faster that I could tell. So I'm guessing, and that was right perfect at my max full draw, which is what I like. I actually hold my arm pretty far out in front of me and pull really far back. I have long arms, for a guy that's 5'11" even. So I have an unusually long draw and I like a long bow as a result. And this is actually really nice overall length. Like I'm 5'11" and it's up past my navel. I mean, it stands pretty tall. my navel plus another 3 inches. So that's pretty good. I mean, we're talking a 4 foot bow here. And that is a really nice length for a bow. 3.5 to 4 foot bow is really nice. And I mean, it's the kind of bow that you can have up along here. Like it's really a very nice classic length type of bow that you could work with and do all of the classic kind of Legolas kind of maneuvers with and be able to attack with your bow. And hey, if you're into D&D, this could be fun for you. Maybe you'll learn something. But if you're not, if you're like me and you're into shooting, these are badass.